Lucy Powell's surprise victory has plunged the Labour Party into fresh turmoil, and according to political analysts, it spells serious trouble for Sir Keir Starmer. We'll break it all down in today's video. But first, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more updates on BritishPolitics.gb. News correspondent Olivia Utley described Powell's win over Bridget Phillipson, widely viewed as number 10's preferred candidate, as a clear sign of deepening fractures inside Labour. What may look like a routine internal contest, she warned, could actually mark the start of a new rebellion brewing beneath the surface. Just 8 weeks ago, Lucy Powell was serving as leader of the House of Commons. She's known for her outspoken style, often pushing back against the leadership's cautious, top-down approach. Her victory, Utley said, shows that Labour members are voting with their feet and sending a message of frustration directly to Starmer's office. But it isn't just the win itself that's rattling the leadership, it's what Powell represents. Her close friendship with Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham, one of Starmer's loudest internal critics, has set alarm bells ringing across Westminster. Burnham has long championed Labour's northern grassroots and has repeatedly clashed with Starmer over the party's tone, direction, and handling of key issues. In her acceptance speech, Powell struck a careful balance, pledging loyalty to the party, but slipping in what many called thinly veiled criticism of Starmer's leadership. She warned that Labour had allowed Nigel Farage to seize the political microphone and stressed the need to debate, listen, and truly hear. Comments widely seen as a jab at Starmer's tightly controlled message discipline, according to Utley. Those remarks won't go unnoticed in Downing Street. Powell is positioning herself as a bridge between the membership and the leadership, but that could quickly become awkward if she's perceived as undermining the Prime Minister. She could easily become a rallying point for Labour MPs who feel sidelined by Starmer's inner circle. Interestingly, number 10 seemed keen to play down the result. Reporters were barred from asking questions, and Starmer made only a brief, tightly scripted statement, a clear attempt to keep the story as low profile as possible. But Utley concluded bluntly, it's bad news for the PM. The deeper issue for Starmer lies in the alliances forming behind the scenes. Powell's ties to Burnham, who recently launched a think tank called Mainstream, viewed by many as a potential platform to challenge Starmer's leadership, could become a real problem. With Powell now back in a powerful role and ideologically aligned with Burnham, the pair could soon become number 10's biggest headache. It's worth remembering that Powell's comeback follows a rocky few months. She was sacked from the cabinet in September after reported clashes over internal reform. Yet she's returned with a commanding mandate, more than 87,000 votes, around 14,000 ahead of Bridget Phillipson, even on a low 16.6% turnout. That's decisive. Her tone on victory night was one of loyalty mixed with quiet defiance. She promised to champion Labour's core values, while insisting the party must change how it's doing things if it wants to turn its fortunes around. Her words sounded conciliatory, but beneath the surface lay a subtle challenge to Starmer's authority. I'll be a champion for Labour's boldness and values, she said, and I know our leader cares about that fight. I'll be his ally. But many in Westminster believe the real test will come in the months ahead. Will Powell act as a unifier, or as the voice of those restless with Starmer's leadership? Her win comes at a tough time for the government. Starmer's administration is already under heavy fire over the grooming gangs inquiry and the mistaken release of a migrant sex offender, both scandals that have drawn fierce media and opposition criticism. On top of that, Labour just suffered a humiliating by-election loss in Wales, losing a seat it had held for more than a century. So, as Lucy Powell steps into her new role, Labour stands at a crossroads. The leadership wants to project competence and calm. The grassroots are demanding authenticity and boldness. Powell's rise could be either a symptom of that divide, or the start of something much larger. Either way, it sends a clear message. Beneath Labour's polished surface, the party remains restless, divided, and far from settled under Keir Starmer's cautious command. Meanwhile, Another story has sparked outrage in Westminster. Reform UK MP Sarah Pochin has apologised after saying, "It drives me mad when I see adverts full of black people, full of Asian people." Her remarks, made on Talk TV in response to a viewer complaint, were immediately condemned by Labour and the Liberal Democrats. Pochin claimed adverts no longer reflect British society and blamed what she called the woke liberty in the arts and media. She said the situation might make sense inside the M25, but not in the rest of the country. The backlash was swift. Labour Chair Hannah Turley said, "It was astonishing that a senior Reform MP is counting the skin colours of people in adverts," she added. "This shows Reform more interested in dividing the country than uniting it." Liberal Democrat MP Josh Babarinde went further, writing online, "If the colour of someone else's skin drives you mad, you're a grader racist." Later, Pochin issued a clarification, saying she had phrased things poorly and only meant to highlight that the advertising industry had gone day mad. She apologised for any offence caused, but stood by her claim that adverts are no longer representative of British society. Both of today's stories reveal a common thread: rising volatility in British politics. Within Labour, Powell's victory exposes internal divisions and a growing struggle over the party's identity. Within Reform UK, Pochin's remarks have reignited the culture war debate over race and representation for Labour. The key question is whether Powell's success will spark confidence and renewal, or deepen the fractures already forming beneath Starmer's leadership. Her northern ties with Andy Burnham suggest the party's regional base may soon push back harder against London-centric policymaking. For Reform UK, the fallout from Pochin's comments could force Nigel Farage to publicly clarify where his party stands on issues of race and identity. While Pochin insists her criticism was aimed at the advertising industry, the controversy risks overshadowing Reform's broader message on fairness and national unity. In short, the political landscape looks increasingly unsettled. Labour is battling internal dissent, while Reform UK faces a public backlash. Both cases highlight the same truth: Britain's political class is struggling to navigate questions of authenticity, identity, and trust. But that's not all. Two new government initiatives are now shaping the national conversation. First, the Starmer administration has announced a 4-week pub and bar blitz, a review of licensing laws aimed at boosting local hospitality. The plan would allow longer opening hours, more live music, and easier outdoor trading, a populist move meant to show Labour's connection with everyday communities. Critics, though, say it's a distraction from deeper economic pain, rising living costs, inflation pressures, and small business closures. At the same time, ministers are preparing to roll out a national digital ID system. Every adult would have an official digital identification on their phone, linked to immigration, employment, and access to public services. Supporters say it's about efficiency and security. Civil liberties groups call it a step towards surveillance and state overreach. Taken together, these policies reveal the government's dual challenge: appearing modern and practical, while avoiding the image of intrusion and control. Inside Labour, figures like Lucy Powell and Andy Burnham are demanding bolder, more people-focused leadership. Outside, the opposition is sharpening its attack. Enter Kemi Badenoch, the newly elected Conservative leader, the first black woman to head a major British party, and one of the youngest in Tory history. Her message: rebuild the Conservatives from the ground up with an unapologetic defence of merit, free speech, and personal responsibility. Supporters see her as a fearless reformer who can reconnect the party with its base and appeal to younger voters. Critics warn her hard-edged tone could deepen divides rather than heal them. The Tories remain split between moderate centrists and hard-right populists. Badenoch must bridge that gap without losing either side. Her early rhetoric is bold, promising lower taxes for small businesses, stronger policing, and energy independence. It's a message aimed squarely at voters who feel politically abandoned. Early polling shows her personal approval, already higher than her recent predecessors, but the party still trails far behind Labour. This sets the stage for a fascinating political duel, Starmer versus Badenoch, two leaders with starkly different styles and philosophies. One sells competence and calm, the other champions conviction and culture. Both are fighting to define Britain's future. Starmer's challenge is to maintain control of his own party, while keeping voters convinced Labour represents stability. Badenoch's is to rebuild trust and unify a fractured Conservative base. Between them stands a restless public, weary of crisis, division, and technocratic caution. Lucy Powell's win, then, is more than just an internal Labour story. It's a symbol of the shifting power lines running through British politics, where authenticity, voice, and regional identity may soon matter more than hierarchy or control. Her alliance with Andy Burnham could shape the next phase of Labour's future, one that forces Starmer to decide whether he'll embrace bold reform or double down on central discipline, because one thing is certain, beneath the calm exterior, both parties know the country is changing, and whoever adapts fastest will define Britain's next chapter.